economics, and all of those issues. But today, hey, let's put economics, politics. Let's make it take the backstage for now because there is something very important we overlook in the race for everyday quest for survival that makes us, forget that very important segment, aspect of society that is as old as man. That's the family. It is said that the family is among the first agent of socialization, and one of the agents of that family that a child would meet would be the father and the mother. See, I'm leading you to where this conversation is heading right now. So stay with me a bit now. Now, it is said that it takes a whole village to raise a child. That's what it said in the African parlance. And you can see how that works. Persons will tell you how it used to be back in the days, how they ask you, whose child is this? And then before you know it, when a neighbor reports you to your parents, and then what happens? You will get double beaten because the neighbor would correct you, and your parents would also get to do all of that. Communal. But fast forward to the age we're in, we now cast our minds back to the words of our forefathers that would tell us that a child that is ignored by society or a village will soon burn that village down in order to feel the warmth of that society. You see, negligence? Okay, let's get into this conversation this morning as I've got my guest waiting here for me this morning. I'd like you to help me make welcome our guest, Frances Madueke-Ozorue. She joins me this morning. She's a parent coach. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here today.
So, the conversation before us is looking at modern day parenting and traditional day parenting. It's a clash of two worlds or two styles. But
Yeah.
before we get into these styles and understand what it's about and if they are clashing, help us understand who exactly is a parent.
A parent is a person who has a child to take care of. I know the dictionary may explain it that you must have had a child. I mean, the mother being pregnant, giving birth, the father who did whatever he had to do to have those children. But from my own knowledge, if you have any child under your tutelage,
Mhm.
you are a parent. You have something to do for this child at any given time, whether it was just feeding the child or dressing the child up or correcting the child, anything you have for some reason at that very moment to become the parent to that child. Yes.
So, from this submission, one could run with it that even a guardian, you might not biologically be the parent, to say biologically you gave birth, but by virtue of taking on the responsibility or even by adoption, you become a parent.
Yes, that's correct.
So, that is out of the way. Now, parenting, as we're looking at it now, let's get into these methods before the world society became this complex where daily survival was, became a major thing.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, traditionally, back in the days, wake up, mother, father, children, cutlasses, heading to the farm,
Mm-hmm.
sundown, they are back home.
Mm-hmm.
So this leads us, that's a typical traditional setting.
Yeah.
Walk us through what parenting was like in the traditional setting, or if there's a model still called the traditional parenting.
Okay, from my own understanding, traditional way parenting is where there are these two authority figures or authority figures because now we're taking away just being biological parents. You know, authority figures telling the child what to do, how to do it, where to go to, whatever, just telling the child what to do, right? So, traditional way parenting involves, you know, you have to do this, we have to get going, it has to be this way, just take instructions, obey, go on with it. It's time for school, prepare, you have to eat this certain food. Now it's time for us to go to school. As of then, you walk to school, or if
Hmm.
you're lucky enough to have rich parents or comfortable parents, they drive you to school. Then you go to school, you meet your teachers too, who for some reason they are also parents because we're no longer just talking about being your biological
Yeah.
parent. The teachers They just stand in front of the board and write and write and write and tell you 1 plus 1 is 2. There is no other way to arrive at it. It's just 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. And that's it. The child comes home and continues with it has to be this way or that way. So traditional way parenting is about these adults telling the child what to do.
Okay.
And their goal is obedience. Yeah.
Okay. Take us now. So if you've established what traditional parenting is,
Yeah.
lead us into what the modern is.
Okay. Now, the modern day parenting is about recognizing that the child is human. So you allow the child, give this child some opportunity to express himself. Oh, we're going to be having, or you don't, it's not even just we're going to be having tea for breakfast. It should be, let's draw up our menu timetable for the family. What are the things you think we can have in the mornings, afternoon, evenings, and whatnot, right? I've had parents, even when they go for school check-ins, this is if it's a child who is to a certain age, maybe 2 or a year plus or 3, they take the children to these schools and sort of want to ask them, so which of the schools did you like? Which of the playgrounds did you like? So modern parenting is recognizing that there is a human being in this.
Okay.
Unlike the traditional way parenting that I've given birth to you, and you have to do it this way, it has to be this way.
Okay.
But the modern day parenting is recognizing that there is a person and learning to involve them in everything that matters.
That will lead us into the difference in these approaches because I'm beginning to sense democracy in one of them. But hey, walk us through the difference in these two approaches to parenting and raising children.
Okay. Now, having stated the differences, in raising the kids, you will see a child who is more comfortable to talk about what they want, how they want it, giving their own suggestions on something, and it reduces the resentment that happens with the traditional day parenting, because in my course of duty I've had to coach parents who came in to tell me, oh, this is what my child is doing, and they may come in that I'm to coach them on what to do with their children, and we end up counseling the parent himself or herself because they have grown being resentful. They hate their parents, they have behavioral issues. So you find out that you even have to treat them to be better for them to, because sometimes it's power tussle that is happening. Oh, I tell my child to sit down, there's no, and for some reason the children we're giving birth to now are no longer even taking what we used to take. You have a child who you say sit down and she will ask you why.
Okay.
Unlike then, the traditional way parenting, once your parent, they don't even need to tell you, they just give you the signal. You look at them, you know you're to sit immediately, right? So this way is, parents are struggling. People who were raised in that way, sometimes the struggle is not even from the child. It's not the child that has a problem. They come in and it's them that is a problem. And because I'm not an adult counselor, sometimes I refer them to my colleagues, right? They find out that it's even them that has to change their mentality on what they know parenting is. Because the way we have it now, the world that has evolved, things that have changed, children are questioning everything. Children know now that they have to be involved. So you make a timetable, a meal timetable, and you write rice, and your child tells you, oh, we ate rice yesterday, why can't we have this? Or mommy, I can't have rice today, right? So you, for you that grew with, it has to be this way, you start to struggle, and at the time they say my child is disobedient. If you sit for a moment and listen to what the child is saying, you will say that he or she is making sense. And this is not about being disobedient. It's just because of where you are coming from. So it's about changing the mentality and understanding that these children are human beings. So you can raise children who can think for themselves, who are not angry. You go out on the road, you see people who are angry for no reason, and this actually comes from how they were raised.
Okay, I'll get back to you shortly because a whole lot of you've said a lot of issues from the submissions you're making already, and I know the caller, the one listening right now,
Mm-hmm.
there'll be issues to raise when the line opens. So I just want the listener to know that they can be part of this conversation after this time out on when
Okay.
they give us a call on 01448 9981 will be the line for you to call. So get ready. Today for us, it's about modern day parenting versus traditional day parenting. And I've got a guest here who's breaking it all down for us, Frances Madueke-Ozorue, speaking to us this morning about all of this. So just be sure to give us a call or leave us a message on our WhatsApp platform on 0809 4440981. You can also find us up on YouTube to see this conversation. Also, it's live on, and just go to youtube.com/smooth 981 FM Lagos. You find us there. This brings us to the other issue. From the submissions now, it is like the traditional way of raising children. Has it failed? Is this what we want to take out of this now, that traditional parenting as a way has failed? So there is the need for a new order to raise children.
Okay, so I like to be very real. Everything that has disadvantages have their advantages, right? And the reason why I am saying this is because of what our current society is forgetting to understand. Now, the modern day parenting will tell you involve your children, don't spank them, don't hit them, don't, But the thing I have seen with parents is they take away these discipline methods that were used in the traditional times,
Mm.
and they do not replace it with something, leaving the children to now be not disciplined. Oh, I don't hit my kids, but your children, they are human beings. They're not perfect. They're going to make mistakes. So what do you do when they do something wrong?
Mm.
I call them and say, oh, Junior, don't hit your sister. No, there are other discipline methods to use, right? There's so many of them. There is the negotiation, there's the planned ignoring, there's so many other parenting strategies.
Ah,
You can
I'm
call.
negotiating with the child. Okay, it's getting interesting now.
Yes, so you don't just leave a child. So now this is where I get real with it. You have to find that balance and use it.
But let's go back to this traditional method of parenting.
Yeah.
Look at majority of the people out there. See how what it did to us. See how we turned out.
Okay.
We didn't turn out badly. We didn't sag our pants. We did. I mean, look at what the crack of the whip would have done our backs. We could still take off our shirts and still see some of where those the skin of the cow left some great marks that made you look like, man, this
Mm.
was the one of the things you survived, and see that's why you're the way you are today, looking straightforward. But
Yeah.
I mean, telling me to shed all of this away and then go begin to negotiate with a child.
Yeah. Okay. I'll ask you a question. Are we really okay? You that was whipped, you have your kin marks. Oh, we need to tell ourselves the
Yeah.
truth, because I know that therapy is something that we're still getting to accept in the
Yeah.
society. But if we were to go meet counselors, are
Mm.
we really okay? Because there's this thing I say, you can't say you're okay until you've gone to the doctor and they've diagnosed that there's nothing wrong with you. So if you've never been to a mental health expert and there's no diagnosis, you can't say I'm okay.
Okay, if we are really okay about this modern day parenting or traditional parenting, definitely we would find out after this. But remember, we're trying to get in your reactions after this time on 014489981. Give us a call, leave us a message on 0809 4440981. Our guest is a parent coach, Frances Madueke-Ozorue, is still speaking with us. Stay tuned, we're Smooth 98.1 FM.
Smooth 98.1. Absolutely no one does it better.
So when we come back, we'll delve into these more issues relating to that. Let's even look at some economic issues that has led to a breakdown in, you know, society, parenting, and all of those. If really we are meeting up our goals as parents in that regard,
It's said
whether
that there was
as
no bond
using the
stronger than
modern
that
or
between a
traditional in the
mother
first
and
place.
child. A bond made
So
from trust,
we'll
a
explore
deep
that and
emotional connection,
other
and
issues
most
still
of all,
arising.
love. Now it is time to
And
really
then
test
just
that
make sure
theory
you don't
in the
your mic.
most loving battle
That your
ever. Indomie
can
Love
hear you.
Bowl, a brand new family game show on African Magic. Watch mothers team up with their children to compete in a number of exciting games for prizes up to 20 million naira. Don't miss Indomie
So
Love
far, we're
Bowl,
good.
hosted by Stephanie Koka and Darasimi Nadi. Experience family fun, excitement, and love all in one. Indomie Love Bowl, showing every Sunday at 7 p.m. on African Magic Family. Stay connected to DSTV or
They are
GoTV.
trying to
What
call
can you
that
say
somebody's
about
already
your
on the line
finances?
waiting for you.
Let's talk about it, shall we?
So before we delve in, we'll call, if the call
What can I
rings,
say about
I'll
money?
take the call
People
and then
don't
we'll
really
get
like
back
to
to
talk about money.
conversation.
Or do they?
It's extremely complicated.
I think everyone worries about not having money and being broke.
We make money, we spend money.
Poor people complain about money, while the rich discuss money.
It's a rich man's world.
Well, for me, my dad invested in businesses, and that's how I started to learn about money.
And as you enter into the workforce, it really becomes you versus the economy.
Then you realize there's little or no money to save, even though you work hard for it.
So that's why every kobo you earn needs to be stretched as far as it can go.
But
Sadly,
nowadays, we no longer spend in Kobo.
especially when it comes to matching up against the dollar.
Now let's discuss your finances and simplify its principles for you. Tune in to Personal Finance on Smooth 98.1 every Wednesday from 5:15 p.m.
We're back. We're Smooth 98.1 FM, 18 minutes already past the hour of 9 o'clock. It's still Lagos Talks 981, and we are having a very great conversation this morning. Modern day parenting versus traditional day parenting, and our guest, Frances Madueke-Ozorue, is still here with us. But before we get on, we've got a call waiting already. They know when to call in. Hello, good morning. We'd like to know your name and location. Modern day parenting or traditional, which would you prefer? Coyote, welcome. Go ahead. Okay. That's a mix of both worlds. That's what you approach. That's what you adopt now. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Mm. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. I see. Oh, okay. Mm. 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 Mhm. Okay. Kade, thank you so much for your time. There goes Kade. We'll bring in the next one. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you. We'd like to know your name and location. Then Abiola from Surulere. Adeola from Surulere. I'd like to get it. Which modern day parenting or traditional, which of them are you a proponent of? Why speak to it then? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much, Adiola from Surulere. Keep listening now. We'll get Francis to begin to respond. So we've got two examples already here. And would this be a fourth caller before we come back to you?
Okay.
Hello? Okay, that's not a call coming in. So, okay, let's, the calls would wait for now. Let's have you respond. So we've seen two. One is going to get a mix. That's
Yeah.
Coyote. Adiola is simply telling you, I'm a stickler for the modern, for the traditional, because it is less capital intensive to run in the process, because you don't have too many choice but to raise the child with what you've got. There's no place for negotiation when you have limited resources. You live with it.
I'm wondering, parenting is free.
Okay.
It doesn't require the money. I don't know where, that's the reason why I mentioned mentality. If you believe that is by going to a big school or certain environment, that's the only time you can adopt modern day parenting, then no. It's the things that I am saying you should do. It's very free. You don't need to have money. And this traditional day parenting we're talking about, it wasn't all parents that were poor. We also had rich parents, right? So it has nothing to do with money,
but
even if
we're
it
looking at the
does.
elements of the things involved in raising children, and that's the core things. For example,
This element includes recognizing that a child is human. There's no
how do we?
economy
How
to.
let's we talked about element, and
Yeah.
you mentioned, you gave an example of saying, well, you see, we had beans last night, so Junior and Kechi. And just mention the names, and then, so what do you think now? Let's do rice today. When you know it's only you just look, we ate eba last night, would it eba is what we are going by tonight again. There is no negotiation, so that's where
Now,
we are.
here's the thing with parenting. People think parenting doesn't just start from the moment you give birth to your child. From the moment you give birth to your child, you start with raising that child. Now, this child has been born into a family where he says that these are the resources we have. So over time, there should be conversations. Over time, I talk about parents, you go to work, you come home, you talk with your children about work, what went on, how it is going. You can break it down to, using the languages that they will understand, right? So you don't have to wait for when it's time to eat for you to tell your child that you can eat this. So if you have from the beginning understood that this child is human, I hear people say it's just a child, you will not understand. Who told you that? Have you seen children do things? Because sometimes on this side of the mouth we are saying they are just children, they don't understand. And then on the other side of our mouth we say, ah, children are very wise. So which one would it be? You have to choose one.
Now, this leads us to the next conversation, which is the challenges of parenting, they're facing in this modern times. And especially you talked about you go to work, they now come back at about, let's say, take Lagos as a classical example. Parents will go out before the children would even wake up. So where is the time to even do this? Then even on weekends, you even hardly have time to rest, but to clean. And then where is the place to even do this parenting?
That's why you have to understand that parenting is a duty. The first scholar said something about understanding that it's your responsibility. One major problem we have, I run a Montessori school in Festac, Lagos, and I've heard parents say things that should not be said because they believe that once I've paid the school fees, my child is now your responsibility.
Okay.
So from the moment you accepted as an adult to have children, you have to understand that this is your responsibility and make time. You have to create the time. You have to know how to do it. Yes, Lagos, the traffic, you leave very early in the morning, even before the children wakes up. You already have the maids who do what they have to do.
Yeah.
You come home, they've gone to bed. There are days that you don't go to work. There are days you come home earlier, right? So it's in you even understanding that this is your responsibility. There's nobody else. It's just like you when you come to work, you have your desk. You know it's you to do it. Do you go giving excuses? It's because you know it's your responsibility. So one major problem we're having in the society today is parents thinking that this responsibility is not just theirs or is not even theirs at all, right? If you understand what you have to do, you have to make yourself available and other resources available to make sure that you're getting it right.
So it now comes across as if parenting can be outsourced. If I would take away what you said now, parents feel if we have the money, if we're not around, but then we could also still get the maids and probably send them to schools where what we're supposed to do for them, the schools and maid will do for them. How can we really trust in parenting or outsource it?
I'm sorry, but you cannot outsource parenting, right? I know that when we started, we talked about who is a parent, and I said a parent is a person who at that time is raising or had something to do with the child, right? But it doesn't still take away the fundamental meaning of parents, right?
Yeah.
So when you give birth to the child, you know this is your child. If you like, employ the whole world, have the whole money in the world, and have all manner of workers. You have the ones who are just for cooking, the ones that will feed, then the ones that will bathe, then there's another person to dress the child up. No matter how much this is available for you, you cannot outsource parenting because I'm sure even if you've not seen it happen in real life, you've seen movies, and those things that happen in the movies sometimes can be said to happen in real life. You've seen children who were raised by these maids and whatnot having resentment for their parents, feeling that gap that the parents are not feeling,
Okay.
having issues, dealing with issues that the parents could not feed. They were made to take them to school, feed them, cook them the kind of meal they want and all. But they still say, I want to be with you, daddy. I want to be with you, mommy. So what does that say? You can, no matter how much money you have, you can't outsource parenting.
Okay, for the listener, we see calls are trying to get in at the moment, but when we return, we would like to get the more calls in. So just hold on for us here. The number for you to reach us will be on 014489981. That will be after this time out. So just save it there. And we'd also would love to read messages if you can call in on 0809 It is Lagos Talks 981, and it's what we're looking at today. Let's cast away politics for now. Keep it aside. Leave economics. Leave subsidy out. The most fundamental thing in life, who you brought in, the visitors you brought in, are not being attended to. And so there lies two roads before us this morning. And we're having our guest, Frances Madueke, helping us break it down, saying before us today, modern day parenting, or you go for the traditional parenting. And so far, we've gotten calls in to say, well, I want to mix. No, I want to stay with what's old, that's tested and trusted. What say you? But after this. Just say, don't worry, you're good. You're good. Listen, you had calls already, you had people say they were, so that's how you you're fine. Don't trust, you're good.
It was tough.
So when we come
But I
now,
enjoyed it.
we'll get,
I can't wait
if we
for
get
the
some
next
more
one.
calls in, we'll take that one in, and then we'll go back again
Party
into
of the year. Verve Live
Yes,
6.0, where Africa comes together to work out, party, connect, and just breathe. Join Kemet, Kathy, Trebler, Queen Fitness from SA, Alvin Lee from Kenya, and other top fitness instructors for a day of intensive workouts, partying, and fun at Verve Live 6.0. Taking place at 7 a.m. at the Landmark Event Center, VI Lagos, on Saturday the 4th of November. Watch out for an exciting concert with a premium band. Alternate sound taking place same evening from 6 p.m. to close out Verve Live with a bang. Register for Verve Live at myverveworld.com/live. Verve Live is brought to you by Verve Card in partnership with Adidas. Verve, enjoy the good life.
You're listening to
We're
The
back.
Smooth Breakfast.
We're smooth 98.1 FM, 28 minutes before it is 10 o'clock. It's still Lagos Talks 981. Still getting your calls in this morning. So let's hear what you have to say regarding parenting, modern day parenting or traditional parenting. Which of them would you subscribe for, or which of them are you? Would like to find out. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Name, location, traditional parent or modern day parenting. Let's know you. All right, Abbas. So go ahead. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm. Mm. Okay. Okay, Abbas, I was going to ask you to pick a struggle or probably pick a stand. This, you come in here, you go. I mean, Abbas, right now, I don't even know if this is a mix of anything right now. Abbas, no, before you go, Abbas, just before you go, see the kind of reaction we are getting. We're getting a rebellion of, it seemed like there is a fight back now from this younger generation to the older ones now saying, that way you tried, we are not going to take it any longer. Hmm. Okay. Abbas, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Keep listening. There goes Abbas there. He stands for the mixed one. Okay. The issues arising right now, it's more like it's a modern day. We must begin to give these children the voice. But the proponents of this old traditional parenting will tell you the adults, as it's said, what the adult sits, the elder sits on a stool. A child climbing an Iroko will not even see it. But yet you are telling me to begin to ask these children, a time will come, but not at children who are yet to form ideas about life, you're beginning to bring them into bother their heads about life issues. Well, take us through that one.
The thing still goes back to what I said. If you recognize that a child is a human being, I mean, being human means he or she have brains, right? See them as human being, bring them in, don't just put them on the side, because if you think they are just kids they will not understand, try them, tell them things. You take your child out, I don't have money for this money, it wouldn't even be on, it wouldn't just be on that day is happening that you see it. If your child have always known how work is for you, you've been teaching the child financial literacy, budgeting. I have a 5-year-old, and when we go out, the question is, Mommy, do you have money to buy this? Not, Mommy, buy me this. She is 5. I didn't start today to teach her that.
Now, traditional parent,
Traditional.
why would you be asking if I will buy what I want for you?
No, but for her to get to that point of asking and not saying, normally you see children throwing tantrums in supermarkets. Buy me this bicycle.
Yes.
But I am now telling you that this daughter of mine asks.
Can you
So
buy
how
this?
did she get to asking? Is for her to say, Mommy is a teacher, I have a school, this is how it is. For everything you do, you have to budget. She has her piggy bank.
Okay.
That whoever brings money to her, if it's in the account, it goes to her account. But if it's physical cash, it goes to her piggy. Sometimes I may not have cash at home. I've had the time that I borrowed 1,500 from her. I told her, I didn't just go to the piggy bank to take it.
Yes.
This is me respecting her.
Okay.
By the next morning or the day after, she knew I'd gotten them. She came to me, Mommy, have you returned the money you took from? I hadn't even remember. I said, oh, I just counted and I gave to her. Now, do you see it? And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't just start. You have to start from the moment the child is born. You start. Okay, let me take you a little away from another thing I do. Sex education for kids. Body safety education for kids, right? Once the child is born, you start teaching. Sometimes people hear sex education and they think you're teaching the children how to have. No, that's not what I'm saying. So now, in order to not bring this whole argument, I now call it body safety education. So a child that is born, from the moment you give birth to the child, there are things you can teach. The exact body parts, what they are called.
Oh, you don't call them other names?
No, you don't say pee. No. It is what it is, just like we have the head. You can't say it's penis or vagina. There's nothing else to call it, right?
Yes.
So that when the child comes back, the child doesn't start telling you, or even I added that no other person who is not mine or my husband's brother or sister should be called uncle or auntie. If you go to schools who understand it, like my school, for example, there is no uncle this, auntie this. Is Miss, Mr. So, and my friends who come to the house, my children do not call them auntie.
Now, this I remember you brought up this, and that we're Africans, we're big on respect and doing all of this. You brought this aspect up. Now, doesn't that seem strange? Like growing up, we never could mention people by their names. We say it's either sister, uncle, or brother, so and so. But here we are. The cultural shock you would feel for a child who's 5 and to say, Mr. Omatseye, and you turn like, that's it. So
now here's the thing. Okay, people hear these things, and because of the way we were raised, what goes to their head is, my goodness, where's the respect?
Yes.
Who told you that a child calling you brother means that he or she respects you? I'm sure you live in neighborhoods where they call you uncle, or someone who has greeted you before still insult you.
Okay.
Right? So that's where I said one major problem I have seen parents struggle with is they want to do this modern day parenting, but They want to take away the things that were done in the traditional times, but they do not know, either they do not know what to put in or how to put it in.
Okay.
So telling my child to call you Mr. Omoshe
Yes.
does not take out that she will come in as a girl and cut in and greet you,
Yeah.
give you your respect, respect herself, respect your boundaries. Go get me water. She says, okay. She goes and gets you the water. So calling Mr. Mashere or she come in here and say Uncle Mashere, there's no difference in it.
Okay.
The respect is still there.
That takes me to Oluwaseun's message on WhatsApp saying, the question is, what technique can one apply after being explaining heaven on earth and not understanding and rebelling against the parent?
The first thing you do here is go find a mental health expert. Go for therapy first to heal. A lot of us as adults, I always smile, when we say we turned out fine. That's why I also add the next sentence. You cannot say you are fine if you've not been to the hospital and diagnosed. So before you tell me you're fine, the next question I ask you is, have you seen a therapist?
But
So
what
after going
is the
through your
place of a
session,
therapist in the place of raising a child?
because sometimes you as an adult is still struggling with some things. We have adults that still resent their parents,
Okay.
right? They have behavioral issues. They have to do this power tussle with their kids. These are issues that you need to go and remove from yourself and heal, so you can parent right.
This conversation looks like a fine place to get in one call or two before we move on now. Let's see on 014489981. If you've got conversation, something to add, a question for the parent coach this morning, she's all yours this morning. Let's get the call in on 014489981 will be where we get to receive that. But while you're making your mind to get the call across, I've got Dapo's message I'll need to quickly get across to. Dapo leaves me with a message. Okay, Dapo, I'll get to you shortly. Hello, good morning. Your name? I didn't quite catch that. Double P from mainland Srule, Lagos. Okay, so Double P, I'd like to hear are you for modern parenting or you're for a mix or which of them? Or you got a question? You got a minute to do this. Okay. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Mm, mm. Okay. Oh, All right, Double P, I have to let you go now. But thank you so much. We really learned some great points you've raised for us. But before you get to respond, when we that will be after this time out.
Black goes back on Smooth 98.1. The smoothest dial on Lagos Radio.
You have to respond, right? You got some, yeah, definitely you will respond on the phone. That's when you go to. If I'm taking it for again.
Fresh fruit, sweet orange, ripe banana.
Okay, a whole lot of watershed coming from this. Okay. So because you've touched on financial literacy already, it's very important. But you touched on that already, so that's very important. So, okay.
All new action-packed drama.
But honestly, this guy made it very. So it also shows that even the parents who were like, of course, you've established that already from that point where you said, look, I think that's the point you were even hammering on when you said, are we really okay? Because some persons had traumatic experience. It's not like it was fine and they're still battling
You
it.
notice sometimes someone who was raised in a home where the father was eating the mother, they grow up and say, I will never. Why is it that most times the people who end up eating their spouses are those people who were raised in homes that a spouse was eating the father?
Finance on Smooth 98.1 every Wednesday from 5:15 p.m. It's all about your finances made easy.
Go back. We're Smooth 98.1 FM. We're back. Gradually we're heading to the last stretch of this conversation. Very interesting conversation. I really wish we can go on and on, but hey, you were going to make a response to what Double P raised a while ago. So let's hear your response to what he said.
Okay. I'm glad because there was no way we would have this conversation and nobody will raise up this very popular saying,
Yes.
Bible verse,
Everybody-
spare the rod and spare the child.
Yes.
There's also a Bible verse that says,
Do not incur the wrath of that.
Exactly.
I know that
Now,
verse.
the Bible said spare the rod. I know it's very easy to try to think that the rod here means a king. It doesn't necessarily have to be a king. I mean, I wish we had them St. Peter or whoever that wrote the Bible still alive, so we can go and ask them, when you said rod, what exactly did you mean? Because everybody is thinking that this rod has to be a cane. It has to be something that you used to hit someone. Is it because it's rod and we know rod is an object that can be used to hit? Because this rod can be you talking with your child, you raising your child in this modern way. So why are we all thinking that this rod has to be a cane? That he keeps saying spare the rod and spoil the child?
No, and even if it says even spare the rod, why you can't even use an iron rod on a child. So why do we? It's
And
not
now
even cane.
you see the problem with the spank. Okay, I'm going to be brutally honest. As much as I'm a huge advocate of modern day parenting, we live in a society that I don't think we can completely remove spanking. But we have this spank at the back of the palm. But sometimes, because we want to show that we are in authority, we do not know when we have crossed the line. And you're now inflicting pain on the child. If I don't give you mark, at that point, you're no longer teaching.
That's hate.
You're just being violent. Now, there was this saying I came across on Twitter or was it Instagram? When you hit a fellow adult, it's domestic violence. It's a legal offense. But when you hit a child, it's discipline. Make it make sense. If I hit you as an adult, you can call the police for me, right? So, but when I hit a child, it's discipline.
No, but there's also child abuse. No, let's face it too.
No, but the way they're trying to, make it seem that spanking is wonderful, is good. Make it make sense. Is it because this child does not have any police to call? Doesn't have anybody? Because, I mean, maybe that's the reason why people in developed countries, their child can dial 911.
Okay, now this comes back. It seems we're returning back to this modern now, because we now see there's something missing in the traditional. Even from the calls we've gotten so far and from your submissions, it's clear there was something missing. There wasn't what you call inclusiveness, meaning seeing, and you kept going back to it, see this child as a human.
Exactly.
So it was the traditional system could be seen as, hey, come, go, yes, sit down, move, that's it, sleep, wake up.
Robots.
That's
using remote
okay.
to.
So what in overall, if you raise a child in that kind of system, that without being able to question or being explained to, what impact, long-term impact, do you think that would have in terms of that kind of parenting?
Behavioral issues, it could range from conflict resolution issues, anger management issues. You have your colleagues that are ready to bear things in mind for you, not come to you to explain it.
Yes.
Because they've been raised to, don't tell me. There was this scholar who called in and said that one of the issues with traditional day parenting is not even being comfortable enough to come to your parents with issues. The reason why we have talks on social media or real life about children who are abused now is that children can actually come home now and tell mommy, so person touched me. But we all know that this happened during our own time. And then it's either you can't tell your parents, or if you tell them, you will be blamed for being there at the wrong time.
I've got one more question for you, but see, we'll get this call in and then. Hello. Good morning. Okay, so I'd like to know your name and location. Okay. All right, so there you have it.
It's very simple. It's a cultural thing. That's the way you show your respect. Please go on and do that. If you remember when I mentioned my daughter or any of the children in my school, once the girls walk in here now, they're going to courtesy while greeting you, and the boys will bow. It's show of respect.
Okay.
That's the thing. From his question, you can tell that they think modern day parenting take away our values.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. I'm not saying. Does that mean no?
Okay, we're
Prostrate
still who we are.
to greet. Yes, we're still who we are. But okay. There's this other one. Modern day parenting would tell you not to force a child to greet an adult in a certain way.
Yes.
Oh, go and hug uncle now. Sit on his arm. Modern day parenting would all my child owes used to come in here and greet you and courtesy. Doesn't need to come hug you, sit on your lap and whatnot and all that. Because we know that sometimes abuse comes from that.
Oh, final question. I guess from what I see, we may have to bring you back. This is parenting issues and not you can just finish it in just this moment. So there'll be need to come back and do this. But finally, just for today, final question. The traditional system, we don't, when we grew, we didn't see our parents probably express love, meaning to hug, probably give a peck to mom and all of that. But yet, somewhere along the line, we would see their 9 children. Yes. So what was it about us that you can't really express love? And if a child grows up not seeing love being expressed, how can he even give it when he's
That's why we are in a world that is evolving. So please, I've had a parent ask me this. Oh, Mrs. Frances, what's your opinion on expressing love to my husband? I said, please, pack it, load up on it. Let your children, but please, rated 18. I mean, so your children can see love and see that their parents are in love. And so there's a way they also take this love, draw it from you. So,
you will be back. You will be back. We know that for sure because I can sense calls wanting to come in. I see Pastor Dakpo's message. Honestly, thank you so much, Pastor Dakpo, for your message. I see Josh also sent a message in here. So, to everyone who called in this morning, I see Kade, Adiola, Abbas, Double P. Thank you so much. And to our guest this morning, Frances Madueke Madueke-Ozorue, parent coach, who's been speaking with us about this modern day parenting versus traditional day parenting. We say thank you so much. We do have